The soft copy is with you all, but we had already shared it. It was scanned till 200 page, Prabhu, no Prabhu? Or 180?
Yeah, 200, I think. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, then we are in 172 only. So we are comfortably there within the pages which we have. I have my book with me. So happy to read from the book finally. Nice. Let's read, Prabhu. Who wants to start now? Mataji, you are on mute. Yes. Mataji, your voice is not audible. I think that issue is there, huh? With the sometimes in the login, you are not able to hear the voice. Mataji is speaking, but we are not able to hear. Sorry, Mataji, we can see that you are talking, but we are not able to hear you. Maybe she has to log in again. In the meantime, maybe you can start, Gaurav Prabhu. You have the book with you. Do you want to share the screen?
Prabhu, I'm trying. Just give me a moment. I'm trying to share the screen, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Can you hear now?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji, we can.
Yes, Mataji, we can hear you now. Sometimes this issues.
Yes. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Mrs. Nair and her supporters acted on the belief that with the cancellation of purchase agreement, our position was based solely on possession. With their false negative propaganda, and they had expected that they could easily drive us out. Okay, but their plan backfired. They had thought they were dealing with just a handful of young foreigners, but they soon found themselves facing many of the Bombay's most influential citizens. Despite the unfavorable press, many Indians were shocked at the violent acts, and many were concerned that if one Hindu temple were destroyed without any response, without restitution and proper reprisals, others would be vulnerable and would similarly be destroyed. The tide began to turn, as Prabhupada had predicted. Our position had strengthened, and a great wave of sympathy rose in our favor. In addition to many friends we had cultivated, and almost 700 life members we had enlisted, all of whom had developed a deep respect and affection for Srila Prabhupada. Scores of Bombay residents, including many influential businessmen and politicians, were opposed to the violence and what they saw as an attack on the Hindu state. So, some saw that the property of common citizens were being threatened. Today in ISKCON temple, wrote a reporter from the Sandesh Daily. Tomorrow it will be a question of some poor man's hut. If every time there is a tussle between money and justice, and money wins every time, then what about the citizens' welfare, and what about his security? What about his future? And so let this problem be a people's problem. The reporter had visited the temple alone. He wrote without anyone from either side so that he could gather the true information which I could present before my readers. And the sum and substance of my visit, in short, is that there is a smell of some selfish political instruments being used in this matter. Open allegations have been made against the foreign devotees of this temple that they are using and teaching the use of narcotics drugs under the spell of this holy place. But these allegers forgot one thing, that these devotees are not hippies.
No, these devotees are not hippies.
They have not escaped from the society out of fear. They have willingly left their wealth, and they have put on saffron clothes out of their attraction for Krishna and for the purification of the soul.
Very interesting, huh? Krishna has sent this reporter, looks like. And all the negative propaganda and all the people looking at, good that you people are having your ball, you have your side of bad day. But you see how Krishna is sending these people, and this reporter, he says that he wants to gather true information. So he doesn't want people from either side. Right? So this is how Krishna inspires. When we are sincere, we have always heard this one thing from our Guru Maharaj, that he said, if you put in sincere efforts, then Krishna will show some way. Krishna will, if you keep on doing your service sincerely, one day you will see that Krishna is showing the way. So we don't have to be disturbed that, oh, I am doing service for so long, nobody is giving any attention to it, or I'm not gaining any visibility, and all these kind of things is really unwanted weeds. You see how Krishna is sending this reporter. He's saying he had visited the temple alone. He wrote without anyone from either side, so that he could gather the true information which I could present before my readers. Someone substance of message, in short, that is this reporter is telling, is that there is a smell of some selfish political instrument being used in this matter. And then comes some more. You see, some more things are coming. Some more support is coming. This is, see, there are times, Maharaj always used to give this example of Gajendra, Draupadi and all, Used to say that, see, there will be a time in our life where you will feel that everybody has given up, including Krishna. Including Krishna. To look like everybody has given up. Narad Muni, he was enjoying his time with the sages. Sages went away. Mother was there. Mother was also left. And then he tried to follow the process sincerely. Then Krishna also said, you will not be able to see me anymore. But he never lost his courage. He never lost his positivity. See, Draupadi's case also, Maharaj used to say this thing that there will always be some time in devotee's life where they have to go through this dark tunnel, where you will see that there is no light at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel will be dark and you will not see that when is the light going to come, you won't know. So Draupadi, when she raised her hands, literally she gave up. We are thinking that she raised her hand for Govinda, but she just gave up. She said, being a woman, she could not fight against this Dushasana's power. Dushasana could easily tear her clothes or whatever he could do easily. But as a poor woman, she could not do beyond a certain point. So she just jumped into the dark without knowing how deep that fall is going to be. And Maharaj said that, sometimes you have to fall like that. Prabhupada, when he went to the West, it was like jumping into the dark. He didn't have anybody there who will support him. Worst case that when Gopal Agarwal was there, that's all, nothing else. So devotion service actually means having that complete faith in Krishna and taking that risk for his service, not for my own benefit, for his service, taking that risk for his service. Gajendra also, he started praying when everybody left. Right? And then Krishna came. At that time also, he was not asking him to save his life. He said, just liberate me from this body. That's all I want. I want, deliver me from this body. So these incidents, especially this thing, if you see, umpteen times you will see that in this entire saga of the Juhu temple saga, you see, umpteen times devotees will be faced with these situations like Draupadi and Gajendra and Narad, where they don't have anybody. They have to depend on Krishna. But they were taking that risk. Okay, let me go and talk. Worst case, what will happen? This person will throw me out. Or the dog, he will send a dog to drive me away. It's okay. Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu were preaching like that. So that boldness is a very important aspect of humility, Prabhupada would say. Humility does not mean you are timid and meek. Humility also means you should be bold enough. Prabhupada is so bold that he could face all those commissioners and this Nair and so many other politicians single-handedly. What what do you call that? The popularity that he had at the time, except for some pandal programs and 1 or 2 temples being constructed, there was no major popularity or visibility or fame that ISKCON had at that time in India. In US, it was spreading, which is fine. But in India, it was not. And those days, the social medias and those things were not there. So what's happening in the US will not be known to India even much later, months later also. And this is not a big thing for them to showcase in the news and all. They were only bothered about during those time. If you see in the 70s, it was all about Pakistan-India war, China-India war, effects of those, plague, then so many other pandemics that were all coming. So the things are not still in its. India was not steady still. Those days it was still growing. Just 30 years of the independence, nothing much. 25 years of the independence time. There's not much really. Now we can talk about many other things. We are growing and all those things. But those days it was very difficult. Still, hand rickshaws are there. There was no all these kind of like the facilities that we have, TV, refrigerator, and washing machine. There's a air conditioner. Those things were all luxurious people's items, or are people who are of the higher class, upper class. They used to go. It's not those things. No, none of those things are available for easy access. So let's see. Let's hear further. There's a beautiful thing coming up now.
Should I continue, Prabhu?
Please, Mataji.
Somebody else would like to. The Times article too had its effect. With deep pain and regrets, wrote Sanjay Khan, a Muslim movie star, in an open letter. I read in the Times of India. I read in the Times of India of the unprovoked demolition of Hare Krishna Land Center at Juhu by municipal authorities. In my humble opinion, I regard this act, if not religiously, as inhuman and totally uncalled for. It is very sad indeed that in our great secular Indian society, such a barbaric act has come to pass. I am very curious to know what pleasure the so-called custodians of our municipal area have had to intrude upon the peaceful and sanctified area of religious belief of Hare Krishna society. In his letter, Mr. Khan advocated for immediate restoration of demolished shelter of these people to be allowed to coexist without any further harassment and injustice. I find the people concerned at the Jew Hare Krishna Society totally peaceful and add colors to our area with so many wonderful people from various parts of the world. Their contribution may be assessed in terms of propagating message of love and understanding. One by one, many of the areas.
This is you. Most of you might be knowing this Sanjay Khan. Did he act in that one serial or something?
Jai Hanuman. He made that Jai Hanuman serial, Prabhuji.
Oh, he made the Jai Hanuman, and he was also one other serial also. Which was that? Tipu Sultan or what?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, correct.
And
God of Tipu Sultan.
And he met with some fire accident or something, right?
You are right, perfectly right.
Huh?
You are right, Prabhu.
Okay, a long time back, I was hazy memory. So this person, it had a real impact because he's a Muslim, and he is writing, supporting Hare Krishna group.
Amen.
Then it had a very big impact there, you know. And this is how Krishna is arranging. But from where the support is coming, we don't know. Right? People who are neighbors, they were making mockery, they are mocking us. But these are people who have seen this message about the news. So they are this. So let's read further.
One by one, many of the area residents and all the municipal councillors were convinced, both of the Nayars and their agents, illegal and reprehensible
actions.
Reprehensible actions and of our legitimate claims to the land. And after some discussion, Mr. Mahadik's proposal was adopted. other than two abstaining members of the Congress party with which Mhatre was affiliated. The committee
But
voted
Mhatre is one of the demons siding with the Nair. Must be knowing. Yes.
Was affiliated. The committee voted unanimously to censor those officials responsible for the attack. The standing committee's chairman, Bhagwati Shroff, wrote to M.W. Desai, the municipal commissioner of Greater Bombay, since the structure was demolished without issue of notice as required under the provision of BMC Bombay Municipal Corporation Act, the structure should be reconstructed at municipal cost, and the party should be given temporary permission for the shade till the court decides the dispute about the ownership of the land. The municipality standing committee had condemned the hasty decision of municipality. Prabhupada wrote Mrs. Singhal and has agreed to reconstruct the shade at their own cost. Not only that, the temporary construction shall continue to stay until the court decision is there as to who is the proprietor of the land. The apparent calamity had served as an impetus for us to meet more new people and present Krishna consciousness and to organize and mobilize our friends and supporters far beyond what we could have done under ordinary circumstances.
See how they are, even the most unfavorable situation, they are using it in Krishna's service. That's all. That's all. There is no big words to speak about. The action, this is really, speaking for itself. Volumes of things is speaking for itself. Let's read further.
Anybody would like to read?
Yes, yeah. Someone else can take over. Over as the. If Gaurav Prabhu has to read, you will have to scroll the thing also. Who else has book? Is Rajesh Prabhu having book?
I will read through.
Prabhu, I'll read in a few minutes as soon as I get home.
No worries. Okay, I didn't
I
know
will
that.
read, Prabhu.
Yes,
I will
Prabhu.
read, Prabhu. I will read.
Please. Okay, carry on, Prabhu.
From why
While we had been.
While we had been working.
Yes, Prabhu. While we had been working with our life members to get permission from the municipal corporation to rebuild the temple structure, Mrs. Nair and her lawyers were busy trying to prevent us. So we can
Continued.
Prabhu, zoom it a bit, Prabhu. Gaurav Prabhu, zoom it a bit.
no. I will zoom. I can zoom. I agree.
No, it is there, Prabhu, on the screen now.
Is it fine, Prabhu?
So,
Yeah,
so
this
we
is
can
fine.
continue to hold a meeting with our friends and life members discussing how to proceed. At one of these meetings at
Sadajitwal. Sada Jivatwal.
Jivat Lal's office, one of our friends pointed out that we might not actually need permission after all. We had already been approved to build the temple in the first place. The municipal commissioner had agreed to extend the temple's permit, and the municipality didn't have any valid grounds for its demolition. So, although we hadn't specifically been given permission to rebuild, there was no ruling that said we couldn't. Nothing to stop us from just restoring it. Somehow, Mrs. Nair found out that we were planning to do.
It's going very interesting, huh? Both sides.
Yeah.
She is not willing to leave, huh? Nair, Mrs. Nair.
Yeah.
Where are we, Prabhu? Gaurav Prabhu.
Prabhu, Gorang is actually.
Gaurang is disturbing.
So Mrs. Nair and our lawyers were busy trying to prevent us. So we continue to hold meetings with our friends and life members discussing how to proceed. So, it
No,
has
no,
been
Prabhu. No, I think we are reading a wrong thing. Somehow Mrs. Nair found.
Ah,
Yes.
somehow.
You have to come down a little bit, Prabhu. Yes, the last two lines of the previous page, Prabhu.
174, no?
Are you reading from the screen or your own copy?
Yeah. No, I'm reading from screen. I couldn't locate it in that file.
Last two lines.
Prabhu, I can read now. I have got the book. You want me to read?
Yes.
Let him read. Let Suresh Prabhu read for some time.
Injunction to prevent the building. It was her property, she argued, and she hadn't given us permission. She petitioned that pending the hearing and final. Into remaining upon otherwise committing trespass on or into the plaintiff said land. The judge, Justice Nain, was.
Prabhuji, Suresh Prabhuji, I don't know if everyone else is able to hear clearly.
Yes, Prabhu, yes.
Okay, then please continue, Prabhu.
The judge, Justice Nain, had been both Mrs. Setty's advocate, Mr. Setty's advocate, and a chief guest at our second Cross Maidan Pandal. So he was familiar with our society and activities and appreciative of Prabhupada and our movement. He said he would consider granting the injunction only after he had heard both the sides. Because it was Friday, he pointed out the end of the week and he would take up the matter on Monday. Just
This is Krishna given time.
Yeah.
But this Friday when they do it, then Saturday, Sunday, nothing will happen. So anything that you want, you can do on those days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just give a temporary injunction for the weekend and then you can decide on the permanent injunction. Mrs. Nair appealed, but her request was denied.
So she knew, she kind of guessed what will happen in the weekend.
Yeah. So Mrs. Nair her request was denied. No, Justice Nair responded. Without hearing the other side, I will not pass any judgment. When we heard of Mrs. Nair's petition, that judge's response, we knew we had to take advantage of the opportunity. If the judge ruled against us, we would be prohibited from going ahead with the reconstruction. But once the temple was up, we understood an injunction, even if it were granted, would be meaningless. The temple would already be in place and no building would be necessary. We figured we had the both pictures. We had the
Weekend.
we had the I could not see that. That he has.
We had the weekend until Monday morning.
To put up the structure. So the real climax starts here.
I can see it. I can see it.
One paragraph above, Prabhu. One paragraph above.
Sorry, Mataji.
No, I'm saying one paragraph above.
Yeah.
Gaurav Prabhu, thoda niche कीजिए.
Not to worry, Rajesh Prabhu, do you want to continue from the next paragraph?
Yes, Prabhu. So the next day, Saturday, I went to see our friend Sushil Asnani, who was the lawyer for the Bhakta, our construction company, and had many contacts, and told him what we had to do. We needed materials, asbestos sheets, sand, bricks, and cement. And although Sadajivat Lal's most visible business was his sweet shop, Punjabi Chandu Halwai Karachi Wala, Prabhupada called it the Sweet Ball King. He was also a building contractor and he helped us arrange for some of the materials. In those days, it was difficult to get cement and almost as hard to get bricks. The demand exceeded the supply, and the government had imposed cement control. To purchase it legally, one had to procure a government-approved quota. And by the time we were ready to proceed, it was the weekend and many shops were closed. It so happened.
Now comes Mr. Sethi. You remember who was he? He was the one Prabhupada called, what is the difference between you and the pig? And then he accepted Prabhupada. He said, okay, Then Prabhupada said, I will send some my devotees to you. You please feed them and do Harinam with them at your home. That same Sethi is one who is coming here, the scene now. See the purity of Prabhupada. How each of them were Krishna is utilizing them all in serving a pure devotee here. Please continue, Rajesh Prabhu.
It so happened, however, that Mr. Sethi was in Juhu with his family to check on his house under construction and enjoy a weekend beach outing. And before returning home, he thought of visiting the temple. When we came, he recalled, we saw that the small shed had been demolished, and the description given to us of the demolition was horrifying. Not only was the temple demolished, but they wanted to take away the deities. Mr. Sethi was in poor health, but he declared, no matter whether laborers are available or not, I will rebuild this temple and will do the labor work myself.
And for this, Krishna was so pleased, Prabhupada was so pleased with him. And we remember almost, I hear that almost every time this Juhu annual celebrations are there, he would be there, and he left his body sometime recently. But he was so respected by all the senior Vaishnavas, and for his simplicity, his heart is very simple, and he surrendered fully to Prabhupada. He may not be like, those maybe a sannyasi or a big preacher or whatever, but what he did is tremendous and inconceivable. At this point from here on, what he has done is inconceivable. Please continue.
As it turned out, he was able to bring plenty of laborers and also supplies from his own construction sites. I got the material from Andheri East, where my work was going on, he later recounted. Bricks, sand and cement, and asbestos cement sheets for the roof. We got an electric welding machine and a person from Jhopadpatti slum who knew welding and welded all the pipes with the asbestos sheets, which the asbestos sheets would go on. In the course of the day, Mrs. Nair, Matre and Mrs. Nair's solicitor, Vachubhai Shah, all came to the site. You can't do this, they shouted, demanding that we stop. Vachubhai Shah, the son of Chiman Lal Shah, came to serve me with what I presumed to be a notice enjoining me from building the temple and threatening me with consequences if I did. But when I saw him, I ran away as fast as I could. And he came running after me as fast as he could in his suit and tie. The respectable solicitor, Vachubhai Shah, is running after me like a child in a playground, I thought. Where is his dignity? He couldn't catch me. And when I looked back from safe distance, I saw him looking frustrated, leave the letter with someone else who just happened to be there with no proof that I had received it or ever would.
See, when I read this, I laughed out so much because see the timing. I mean, say what is the presence of mind of Maharaj? If he had received it, then that's it. No, so I've given you, you have received it, and you are the witness and finished. Then the court will ask him, after receiving this, you build this building. So I don't know who told him or what Krishna might have inspired him to do this. Literally, all dramas happening here. Okay, let's go further.
Matre too demanded that we halt the construction. No, Mr. Sethi replied. Why should we stop? You can build it up, Matre threatened. But I will come in the night with 50 gundas or hooligans and break it down. Mr. Sethi turned to his son, who was by his side, and said, Brij Mohan, bring my revolver and my rifle. Then he said to Matre, don't bring 50 gundas, bring 100. Bring 200. I have 250 cartridges. You have to bring at least 251. He had a Kshatriya side and he was
It was
staunch.
raining, It was raining heavy in the night. My God, this is really amazing, to stand so firm there. We talk about, devotee, pure devotional service and all that. He was really like Arjuna, standing there for Krishna. Mm.
They did not count on the amazing heroism and bravery of my personal hero, Mr. P.L. Sethi. Maithili said later, echoing everyone's admiration. As Brijmohan Sethi remembered,
And
so
he
with
is
the
not
revolver
keeping
in my
well, by
hand,
the way. And he's not keeping well. It's raining, and he's standing there for Krishna. Yes.
so with the revolver in my hand and the rifle in Daddy's hand, we started the work. We could do this not because of something in us, but because of the blessings of Prabhupada. Only with his blessings and mercy could we start the construction. The entire night it was raining cats and dogs, but we never stopped the work. It went on. As the rain fell, Mr. Sethi recalled how by lifting Govardhan Hill, Lord Krishna had protected the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the devastating rainfall sent by Indra. He was unperturbed. Indra wants to test me, he thought. All right, if you want to come down, you can come down more heavily, but I have the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. I have to rebuild the temple and I will.
He's really challenging Indra also. Mm.
They were joined on guard duty by Jagmohan Sursagar, a popular singer, Amratlal Pandya, Balkrishan Chugg, Mr. Kejriwal, Manmohan Dasa, Mr. Singhal, and Bipin Desai, all life members. We and Bakshi, also a life member, organized two strong volunteers on motorcycles, and they circled the land and patrolled the road in front of the temple. A few police constables came in a van, but they left around midnight.
See, the
I was almost-
police constables are coming on the behest, at the behest of the that Mrs. Nair.
Mrs. Nair.
They are the ones who are, hand in hand with the thing. See, all these things are happening. Again, reminding this point that Prabhupada is not here, he's on a world tour. See the love that devotees have for even now, for that matter. Otherwise, this is not possible without Prabhupada being there. And all these people whom he preached to, they all came at the right time for support. Krishna arranges everything, When things have to happen, everything will bring everybody, all the planetary systems, everything he'll bring together. Right way. Yes, please continue.
I was overseeing the rebuilding, and Tamal Krishna told me, I want you to stay up all night and make sure the work is done. People will be working all night long, and Gundas may come to attack. I want you to stay up and make sure that the work keeps going and that nothing goes wrong. A few days earlier, Satsvarupa Dasa Goswami, my first temple president, by whom I was greatly inspired, had passed through Bombay. I appreciated his humble and gentle demeanor, and I wanted to emulate him. When Tamal Krishna told me to stay up all night and oversee the work, I mentioned how I wanted to be like Satsvarupa Maharaja, a simple, humble sadhu. Tamal Krishna looked me straight in the eye and with a firm intensity and controlled anger responded, Your humility will be to stay up all night and make sure this temple gets rebuilt. I thought about it and I had to agree. Where was the humility if I was not ready to surrender to the order or desire of the spiritual master? If I would have retired for the evening so I could get up early and be a good devotee and chant my rounds, which wasn't bad, I wouldn't really have been humble. It was more humble to submit to the authority and do the needful for Srila Prabhupada's service. To be humble meant to be ready, without personal consideration, to do whatever the spiritual master wanted, whether or not it conformed to popular conceptions of a humble sadhu.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Sethi and his son, the friends and life members, and the laborers stayed up all night to protect and complete the construction. I was there with a gun, Mr. Sethi recounted. We started at 9. At 11, one man came at the road, but I challenged him. If you come inside, I will shoot you. He ran away and shouted to some other men, They are ready to fight, don't go there.
They are ready to fight, don't go there. They thought they will not have anything with them. Huh? Amazing.
So it was pouring rain and the lighting was bad. And when the men were putting up the asbestos sheets, they were slipping on the ground. So we brought around 50 mats and put 20 men on them, one man supporting another so that there was no slipping. 10 masons worked all night and we completed the walls and the plaster. Sridhar was at the site too, chanting japa in the jeep. When someone asked him why he was in there, he joked, if anybody comes, I can make a quick escape.
Sridhar Maharaj he's no more there. He's also one of those early, the servants in the Juhu, this thing. He's called Jolly Swami, he had a very painful death before departure, with some disease and all that. But he always jokes. So he just jokes here. He has given his life for Prabhupada, but at the same time, he has an interesting way of joking. So yes, please continue.
Actually, the whole thing was right in keeping with my nature, he recalled. When there is a good chance for a fight for Krishna, I don't run away from it. It was very exciting. I was ready. We stayed up all night, miserable night, but we were waiting for them to come. Mr. Sethi had his gun and I had a knife or some other weapon.
This is Sridhar Maharaj telling. Sridhar Maharaj telling.
And the devotees, life members, masons and others, skilled workers, laborers and other friends did it. They put it all up in that one night, finishing around 4 in the morning, and no one came to disturb the work. And then we had Mangalarti.
Not going to sleep. That's devotees,
It was done overnight, Amritlal Pandya described. In order to help, Balkrishan Chagg, Dr. Singhal, V.N. Bakshi, Bipin Desai, Mr. Mehta, and I came, though Mr. Mehta left because he was staying nearby and was threatened. We were also threatened, but we didn't bother for that. For the sake of Krishna's temple, suppose we become lame, no worry. If the head is broken, no worry. Somehow or the other, we had to see that everything was completed. We stayed throughout the night and ultimately the construction was completed. The temple was reconstructed and the festivals started. Everything began in a regular way. Matre returned around 7 the next morning. But by then it was too late. It is built, we told him. Go to the court. Later that morning, we appeared in the High Court and told the judge that the temple had already been built. What is built is built, he said to Mrs. Nair. No one can destroy the temple.
Very well. But this is not over yet, still. This is only that the temple is built, but still we are not in possession of the land. So agreement is cancelled. Yeah.
When Prabhupada heard the news, he considered it a complete victory. The temple had been rebuilt. In Bombay, we have just been victorious over the party who had torn down our temple, and the temple has been completely reconstructed. In addition to our gaining overwhelming new popular support, he wrote to Guru Das. I'm glad to hear of the victory in the matter of Bombay property. He wrote to Mrs. Singhal. Now it is rebuilt and people are supporting our cause and finding out more about our great movement. You please help and tell everyone how nice chanting Hare Krishna is.
At the end of it, Prabhupada is not so much concerned about the building. He's more concerned about chanting Hare Krishna. He says, see, by chanting Hare Krishna, we were able to be successful. So you please go and tell everybody how nice chanting Hare Krishna is. Look at Prabhupada's simplicity. And this is how we should understand where Prabhupada is actually. He's not like just fighting with this Nair for his ego's sake or just to get a nice piece of land in Juhu, in Bombay, in a prime place. No. He realized Krishna somehow made him, gave him this divine prophecy or whatever, that this place is best to be used for preaching Krishna consciousness. That day, 31st December, when I went there, I could see crores and crores of people are coming, lakhs and lakhs of people are just coming. And they had to put 5 rows for people to go around and take darshan. Otherwise, it was not possible at all. This was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the evening. In the night, it would have been really crazy. And imagine how much more it will be for Janmashtami and Ramnavami and all. Yes, please continue. Anyone else wants to read?
Prabhu?
Anyone else wants to read?
I will read it.
Who wants to read?
I will read Prabhu again.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna Prabhu, shall I?
1 second. Suresh Prabhu, let Kamalini Mataji read.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji. She hasn't read before. After that, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
3 weeks later, in London, Srila Prabhupada brought up the topic of the demolition with George Harrison.
So now Prabhupada is already in London. And George Harrison, he regularly comes to meet Prabhupada with his Beatles team, and he is the most interested person in this Hare Krishna chanting and all. And Prabhupada is encouraging him to do it in his own way. Now Prabhupada is telling something funny here.
In Bombay, we are undergoing some tribulation. You have seen this booklet, Prabhupada asked, showing George the special demolition. We have to go up.
Demolition issue.
Demolition issue.
The audio is not very clear. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Now, is it okay now?
Yes, Prabhu.
A little better.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu. The city municipal authorities knocked our temple down. Shama Sundar explained.
Sham Sundar Prabhu is very close friend of George Harrison. Like Sham Sundar Prabhu, because they were the ones who met him first in very early days. Yamuna Mataji, Sham Sundar Prabhu, Malati Mataji, then Guru Das, Mukunda Maharaj. But that time he was not Maharaj yet. And Janki, they were all the ones who were doing daily Harinam in the streets. And somehow George Harrison gave them his time, and they became very good friends. Sham Sundar always used to talk about. In fact, in his last days, when George Harrison was leaving his body, he was chanting Hare Krishna in his beats and surrounded by Radhanath Maharaj, Sham Sundar Prabhu, Guru Das Prabhu, Mukunda Maharaj and all. So Sham Sundar Prabhu always had a good connect with George Harrison.
Why did they do that? George asked. Oh, that's a long story, Prabhupada. About the land, Sham Sundar added. There was some dispute. We purchased it, and the other owners had tried to dispute it. And they were powerful with the police. Next one. They didn't want you to have the land, or they said you didn't own the land. They said we really didn't, even though we paid for it. Sham Sundara said. They were powerful friends with the police, and they got the police to come and they demolished the temple. Really? With the deities in them? They didn't destroy the deities. No, Prabhupada said. They demolished the deity room. In the meantime, another message came. Don't go on further. So they stopped. You would expect it somewhere like in America, in the West. George said. In India, you wouldn't expect that. Okay, that might happen in America, but not in India. Okay.
Because they won't appreciate the importance of a holy place, no?
Yes, yes.
That way he was telling. So in India, normally people should appreciate the importance of holy places where worship
how come
is going.
they did it in India? That was his thing.
Yeah.
No, Prabhupada agreed. This is an extraordinary incident. Now the public is on our side. When one preaches, he must tell the truth, just like Lord Jesus Christ. The people did not like his preaching, but he did not stop. But in preaching, there is possibility of creating animosity. This temple demolishing, Shamasundara asked. Yes, Prabhupada replied. You are innocent. We are simply worshipping. We have given money. Everything is all right. But the opposing parties were creating some unwanted, especially in God consciousness, such things are possible. We have to pay sometimes. Even Prahlad Maharaj, he was a 5-year-old boy, and his only fault was that he was Krishna conscious. His father became his enemy. What to speak of others? Because his father did not like God consciousness, he became the enemy of his child, although the child was only 5 years old. So there is possibility of such things. Yes. Prabhupada often quoted the saying, failure is a pillar of success. He said that especially in spiritual life, failure was not a discouragement. We just had to try and try again. And by his and Krishna's mercy, we were successful and the temple was rebuilt. During the temple reconstruction, Mr. Sethi had demonstrated his Kshatriya spirit, for which Prabhupada expressed his appreciation, also teaching us a lesson that sometimes a fighting spirit was required. In this way, we have to fight, he later said. We should not be afraid for these rascals. Why you should be afraid? If they take to Gundaism, we shall engage 50 Gundas. Come on, let us see. We have
we will also have Gundas.
Have to maintain next phase. We have to maintain that faith.
अन्याय ये करे प्रभु आरा अन्याय ये सके.
Rabindranath Tagore's poetry. One who does wrong and one who suffers wrong, he is wrong. One should not do anything wrong. One should not suffer anything wrong. That is human. If somebody does harm to me, wrong to me, I cannot suffer it. I shall not do any harm to anyone. That's all. That's all right. But if you want to give me suffering, I must fight you. Why shall I suffer? Suffering? That is Kshatriya spirit. Yudhe palayanam. If you are challenging, then all right, come on. I accept this challenge. We have to do like that. Prabhupada was referring to the verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 1843, describing the qualities of a Kshatriya. Shauryam tejo dhritir dakshyam yuddhe cha apalayanam
Dhanam Ishvara Bhavascha
kshatram karma svabhavajam. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriya.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Can I ask? Prabhu?
Yes.
Prabhu, the thing is this Kshatriya spirit that is being discussed here, Prabhu. So if you remember, a couple of years back, there was attack in Bangladesh in our temples, and many people were then discussing that we should have this Kshatriya spirit, and we had some protests. So how do we relate these things? Here it is said that if you become Gunda-like, we should also become like that. So, how should we understand, Prabhu, the response that was there at that time?
Prabhu, I will keep it this way, Prabhu. Prabhupada says that we will bring Gundas, but he doesn't say that we will fight. It's only to threaten. That when these people initially they thought that these are just some foreigners, we will just come and drive them away. When they saw that somebody is standing with a revolver in their hand, they were afraid and ran away. Correct. So it is like Prabhupada said, that the snake, Narad Muni told the snake to be a sadhu, but he said, I only told you not to bite, but I didn't tell you to not raise the hood just to threaten them. Correct. So that is required. Right. And another important thing we should also understand here is that what we are doing here is a service to the whole society. It's not my house alone that I am having these things. So when you are doing it for the entire society, so he's saying that somebody will come and like Sethi, for example, because he was sitting there, that nobody could enter in. If he was not sitting there, there would have been our people would have been driven away. Right? So somebody with that Kshatriya spirit should be there. Frankly speaking, he should genuinely have the Kshatriya spirit. Sethi didn't have anything to gain from this dealing. He could have easily sat down and peacefully enjoyed his sleep in the Juhu beach in his resort, in his house, bungalow. But he had that connect with Prabhupada. So a Kshatriya is not an independent fighter. He fights for Krishna. Sethi showed us by fighting for Krishna. Now this Bangladesh workers also, our devotees staged their protest. They went for some procession. We all had that in Vrindavan also. Devotees went on a long procession to showcase their protest there. And there are many leaders who voiced their concern in that. It all went viral. So there are democratic ways of fighting. If everybody has a revolver and everybody goes back and forth like that, then why we need a court and a police and all that? So it would have been a big bloodshed, isn't it? So first stage is always the democratic way. You don't immediately take the revolver and go and start shooting everybody left, right, and center. You go the democratic way. Anywhere you see the democratic way, only they do dharna, they do protest, they go on a hunger strike. That's how democracy it is done. Because in democracy, the people are not so much Kshatriyas, right? So, and those who are Kshatriyas also, they don't have this protecting mentality. I mean, Kshatriya means their fighting spirit they have only for just saving themselves. They don't have a fighting to protect the people who they don't care for. They don't care for you, but still you have to go and protect them. You know, that's a big sacrifice for Kshatriyas. Yes, was it Kamalini Mata just trying to say something?
Yes, Prabhu. Like what happened in Bangladesh, had the devotees, some of the devotees been trained as Kshatriyas, they could have at least resisted, no, Prabhu?
No. See, the thing is, one thing we have to understand, that trained as Kshatriyas does not mean only just fighting. That's what I was trying to say. Trained as Kshatriya means that whatever Prabhupada is listing here, all of these things we should be equipped with. Shauryam, Tejo, Dhritir, Dakshyam, Vidya Chapi, Apalayanam, courage in battle. You should not back out. And then Dhanam Ishwara Bhavasya, that leadership, the national qualities of a Kshatriya. So Prabhupada did say that we have to develop Kshatriyas, that we have to develop Vaishyas. You know, he had mentioned these things like Varnashrama Dharma, you have to create and all that stuff. But the point here is we are Vaishnava Kshatriyas, we are Vaishnava Vaishyas, we are Vaishnava Brahmanas. You understand? It's not like a simple just Kshatriya going and doing something, whatever. So we may say that, you know, somebody has to be trained in this, maybe some this art, that art, and so on. But that is not alone enough. You need to be having that presence of mind like what Mr. Sethi had. You know, and for that there may be somebody who are coming. There are many business people, like you see many of the disciples. Some of the disciples of senior Vaishnava Maharajas, Prabhupada disciples, their disciples I'm talking about. They are nice businessmen. They are very shrewd businessmen. They know how to speak and ensure that they can convince the others. You know, so devotees may not have that capability right away, but then they can have somebody like Sethi who was so surrendered to Prabhupada. Like that, Krishna will send somebody who has this mentality of a businessman or a Kshatriya, and they may help us. They may protect us. So it need not be that we have to only develop such people and then have those people in our hand. No, that may not be possible. Already who is a Kshatriya, you can make them into a devotee. That is easier, no? There are devotees who are army officers. They come, they are soldiers, they come and join. They have that natural capability to fight and front the attacks and so on.
So whatever happened is also with Krishna's permission only.
Correct. Here, there was no Kshatriya, frankly speaking. But Krishna sent that Sethi, no? And Prabhupada prepared him way before for this fight. Or the presence of mind for Giriraj Maharaj to run away from the from that. If he had received it, then it is all done. Then got it. Like that.
Yeah, he should have to reach.
And see, he's an American. They never encounter this kind of situation in their country. It's all dealings are just mostly white dealings. In India, only all these things happen. So how he quickly learned all these things, we don't know. Within a couple of years, you know. He is young brahmachari, hardly 20 plus years, you know. Crazy. I really laughed my heart out in that incident. Okay, let's continue.
Somebody wants to read?
Yeah, anybody wants to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Sriniketan.
Yes, Sriniketan.
From he continued, right? From this part?
Yes.
He continued. Am I audible, Prabhu? Hare Krishna?
Yeah, you are, Prabhu.
Okay. He continued, if somebody is Atatai, aggressor, you unnecessarily attack me, I must first kill you. That is my duty. Just like you have done here, Setiji, I'll bring my revolver. That is argumentum ad baculum. Baculum. Here
Means, no more talking. Argumentum ad baculum means no more talking. Only my stick will speak. Only my revolver will speak.
Here they wanted to put us into trouble, and he was in great trouble. So he came and stood. All right, come on, we shall fight. Bring my revolver. Bring my revolver. He did that. So we have to do like that. Why shall I tolerate unnecessary injustice? Take that spirit. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1:753 and 54, Lord Krishna himself instructed Arjuna, Brahma bandhurna hantavya atatai vadharanah Mayavo bhayam amnatam paripahi anushasanam Kuru pratishrutam satyam yat tat shantapyata priyam cha bhimasenasya panchalya mahyam evacha. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna said, a friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are in the scriptures and you should act accordingly. If there is a fight, Prabhupada said, we must be prepared to fight. Mr. Sethi mentioned me that I had supported him and I responded referring to him, he is very heroic. He was very heroic. Yes, Prabhupada said, he is a Kshatriya. Then Mr. Sethi told us about his experiences fighting at the time of the partition between India and Pakistan. In the Pakistan time, he said, I fought 40-50 men. Yes, Prabhupada confirmed. That is Kshatriya spirit. If you want to fight, you killed.
He's saying you killed, he's asking.
Okay. Yes, so many times. So you have experience.
You got experience of killing people, which is good. It's very casual about it.
Sometimes I have walked on the dead bodies. Really? So many dead bodies? I was with 4 men at Pathankot, at a Tonga.
Hey, Pathankot. Jai, Gaurav Prabhu's area, na?
At Tonga.
Yes, Prabhu, my native place.
I was with 4 men at Pathankot. A Tonga horse-drawn carriage came with 6 Muslims and they challenged us. We will kill you. We said, yes, come, you kill us. We will kill you. We fight. We were ready at that time because revolver was with us. And Kulhari axe and Khundasa curved sword. One my friend was from Gujrawala. He showed this Khundasa and cut the first one's head off. And he was running. Acha, still running? Running. In Mahabharat, I heard that a body was running, but I actually saw it.
Prabhu, it is called Khandasa. Punjabi mein it is called Khandasa.
Khandasa.
That the big accent, no, Prabhu?
Yeah. It's like this. It's a
But I actually saw it. His head was cut off and the body was running.
If I see a body running like that, I will faint. Somebody help me.
Just see. And then he fell down. And after that, the other men went. How he was running with his mind. Just see.
See, Prabhupada is here also is talking the body mind preaching, how body is different from mind.
The mind is in the heart. Hari Shaurya added.
Now they're talking. They're talking about some head being cut off and they're talking about Gita. Manohridi Niruddhisha. My height of preaching it. Let's read Prabhu.
The mind is in the heart. Hari Shaurya added. That Prabhupada added. This rascals. The one man got out from the Tonga. Mr. Sethi continued. And first we cut off his head. And then all the others ran away. We saved all the fellows. That is also Krishna conscious, Prabhupada said. You see how many demons were killed by Krishna. Referring to the rebuilding of the temple, Mr. Sethi said, I declared, if they challenge us, I am ready. Come on. In the night at the temple, I challenged, come on, and you are 150, we are not afraid. Then when Mhatre came with that barrister to give Giriraj notice, I scolded and insulted him publicly. Therefore, Prabhupada said, Mhatre was so against that, we must stop this. Yes, I heard from the doctor that he was insulted by Sethi. Either Sethi should go, like that he has repeated. He gave me a hint, remove Sethi, but I replied, I will not let that happen. And that doctor was Matre's man. He also gave a hint, give Matre 2 lakh of rupees. He was a canvasser on behalf of Matre. He wanted 2 lakhs. We will not give you a single paisa, Mr. Sethi concluded. We will fight. We will fight you. Come on.
So much we had to deal. See how much these nonsense people Prabhupada had to deal with to build these temples, bribe, underhandlings, behind the scenes, working against, bad propagandas, negative propagandas. He didn't budge an inch. This is actually Kshatriya spirit. Prabhupada had the same Kshatriya spirit. He just didn't have gun in his hand, that's all. But he didn't budge an inch right from the beginning till the end. He didn't have an iota of doubt that, okay, let's back out. No. Sometimes the devotees might have thought so because of their maybe experiences, lack of experience or whatever. But see how Prabhupada is never, is like, that's why he's appreciating Sethi. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhupada's words are like guns, Prabhu.
Yeah.
We will not give you a single paisa, Mr. Sethi concluded. We will fight you. Come on. At the time of the demolition, Tamal Krishna was leading their traveling Sankirtana party, including Achyutananda, Gargamuni, Harikesh, and Sridhar, and feeling enlivened by their preaching. Also, he was reluctant to get involved with the problems in Bombay, but when he heard about the demolition, he returned immediately. Because of the urgency of the situation, he flew, and the others came in the group's 3 jeeps. Thinking that Juhu was too far from the city and that we should be closer to the important people in Malabar Hill and downtown Bombay, Tamal Krishna suggested that we approach life members to see if someone could give us a place to stay in the city. When we explained our situation to Brijratan Mohata, he said that we could use his vacant flat at Nepean Road in southern Bombay. The building called Shivner was conveniently situated on the corner of Nepean Road and Narayan Dabolko Road. The flat was on the 2nd floor and had 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room, where we put a makeshift altar, and a smaller room off the hall. Tamal Krishna and Achyutananda took the first bedroom, Harikesh and I shared the next, and at different times various other devotees took the one at the end. We did not have a regular temple program in the flat, but in the evening we often had preaching programs around the city. Generally, we would return late at night and sleep late the next day. Our cook, Gurudev Das, would make a light breakfast, usually a flat rice preparation. And for lunch, we ate in vegetarian restaurants such as Aram on Marine Drive or at a rooftop cafe in the Grant Road area. Personally, I felt uneasy eating restaurant food other than in a small place on Kalpadevi Road in Old Bombay run by a family who cooked rice, dal, chapatis and vegetables and served the meal just like in a traditional Vaishnava home. Because the Juhu project was stalled with all the complications with Mrs. Nair, Tamal Krishna and I formed a team to collect for the temple construction in Vrindavan. One devotee suggested that it would be most effective if 2 preachers went together, one heavy and the other soft. Tamal Krishna and I fit the roles perfectly. He with a strong, dominant personality and I being somewhat soft-spoken. So we accepted the idea and it worked well.
You can stop there because the next part starts with the continuity on. So this is still not over actually. Until the whole thing is signed off, no? It another maybe 20-25 pages. Only then it will be like the first part will be over. So we will continue reading. Thank you. So we had another exciting reading today. It's in fact even more exciting. It says these the heroic acts and and the services of the various devotees there. How much had gone into building, they had shed their blood, they shed every drop of their blood and sweat to build these temples. We have to be really thankful to each one of them who served Krishna and Prabhupada so much from the bottom of their hearts and using all their body, mind, and words and everything.
One thing that I could
Yes,
understand, Prabhu, is
yes,
like, Mr. Sethi's Kshatriya spirit was used for the right reasons.
yeah.
Be it in Pathankot or be it in Juhu. So it was used for the right reasons.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Prabhupada has, somehow Krishna has sent the right people at the right time, isn't it? Whether it was that judge who received both the sides and he said, I think he might have silently played a part there, that I want to hear both sides.
Yes,
And
yes.
he gave that extra time to us to build this thing, right?
And also Mr. Balasaheb Thackeray also, like.
Yeah, he's just one word. And to that extent, he was able to at least stop the thing. He didn't do much beyond that, but at least to that extent, he was there. When the whole torture was going on and put them into the jail and so on.
That single line made the action reversed.
Yeah.
One threatening line that, I am, who I am in Bombay.
You know who Bombay belongs to.
Who Bombay belongs to, yes. Actually, Prabhu, I came to know about this episode very much late, like because being brought up in an environment in Mumbai, but we heard all the how Shiv Sena deals, so I had a wrong impression of Balasaheb Thackeray, but when I came to know much later after his death, I felt like I did a mistake.
Yeah, he's a more of a neutral. I mean, from political point of view, they will have their own allegiances and whatever they will do, Prabhu. But when our cause is really genuine, then it is taken up by people who do it. They see the right reasons or say the where the justice is.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sometimes we see they could have given one more, but that's all Krishna wanted to utilize them for. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, I was wondering how much, little details as well as Giriraj Maharaj knows. Every little thing, Prabhu. How come they are able to remember so many things?
And this is after 50 years, huh?
Yes, Prabhu. That too.
That's why they are, Prabhu. If you ask me in one word, this is the power of serving a pure devotee. With full sincerity and dedication. If we have that kind of a Guru Bhakti that they all had to serve Prabhupada's mission, they had no idea. Now we know that ISKCON is a big thing. So a big thing. Whatever we do, there will be always some little fruitive thing that will be attached with it. But when they were starting, it was just some small pockets of people, and they don't even know whether this will survive. And Prabhupada is quite old. If he leaves, whether this will continue on or not, we don't know. They don't know. And because of all their sacrifices, it's going strong even after 50 years. See, now there are more than 800 temples. Prabhupada started with 100 temples. Now we have more than 800 temples, farm communities, and so many centers and groups and namahatas, and so many different things have come up. It will have to grow further. But the thing is, because of the way Prabhupada has given us the philosophy and also showed by his own personal example how to follow that philosophy, how to practice that philosophy. And his disciples also did the same thing. Whatever he said, they did. That's why even after Prabhupada's departure, there was a little bit of the vehicle was a little bit shaking a bit with some churning going on. But because Prabhupada has given us that foundational philosophy, things became all right after some time. Things started everybody started to read and get the answers from Prabhupada's books, whatever questions they had. So
His
nice.
conviction and his purity.
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
strength.
yeah. And many more things are to come. After this, you will see that still to obtain the permission, they had to still, just now only the building has to stay, that's all. They don't have the rights, the permission to get the ownership of the land. And there, Prabhupada will do very, very interesting. He will show some more of his transcendental qualities there. We'll come to that very soon.
I have also heard, Prabhu, the three people behind this all the problem. There were three supporters of Nair. How they died later after that. So that was also described by one of the Prabhu. I heard a lecture by one brahmachari. He perfectly described how each person died of his own fate. All that.
Yeah.
So they have faced, the Krishna gave that proper treatment for their all bad.
That Matre and all those people, no?
Another 2 persons were there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bound to happen when you are dealing with a pure devotee. You don't know who you are dealing with. You know, Prabhupada's personal servant.
They didn't know.
Normal people, you do that itself, you will get karma. But if you are doing that to a pure devotee, trying to cheat him, you know, and destroy him, and his sincere servants, you have to go through that. That's the thing, you know. Prabhupada has really showed us that. So nice. Thank you so much, Prabhu, and Mataji, for your realizations also. That's why, Hare Krishna Gaurang, nice to hear you. So this, really, frankly speaking, these books are not different from Bhagavatam. Because the Bhagavata in action, really. Prabhupada is the Bhagavata, and person Bhagavata, and he's in action, and he's so nicely, Giraj Maharaj had explained this whole story. And I'm glad that I got this book at the right time. And first I read it and I felt it should be read in our discussions. And I know all of you are really always looking for, eagerly looking for this nectar. So, reading these books and understanding Prabhupada and his disciples' mood will help us relish Bhagavatam even more. Like Prabhupada Lilamrita, this, so many different books have come. Prabhupada's how he exhibited his transcendental qualities in different parts of the world, like Europe, UK, US, Australia, India itself, so many places, and wherever he traveled, devotees are writing their recollections. It's worth reading them all. There are some more beautiful books which I really enjoyed in early days. One is Hare Krishna Explosion. Another is the Vrindavan Days. They're written by Hayagriva Prabhu. So you will just laugh and laugh while reading that. It's like 66, 67, 68, those days, you know. And the woman did not kick off too big. It was like more intimate things with Prabhupada. I wish I have a copy of that and we can read it. Nowadays, I don't know if it's in description. I have Harisori Prabhu's transmitted diary. Maybe after we finish, we can look into that maybe. But this book has to be finished. There's quite a few pages in here. Go through. Let's see. We'll stop here. And Krishna willing, tomorrow is Friday. Saturday morning, Krishna willing, we'll connect again for Narad Muni. Another great Vaishnava there. Thank you so much, Prabhu Mataji. I'll stop here and we can stop here and we can